Hi everyone, welcome to the last session in the series for AWS Cloud Practitioner Bootcamp. I am Rajat Arora. I am a AWS user group leader for Delhi NCR and also an AWS community builder for the serverless category. So today we have Jatin Goyal as a AWS professional trainer who is taking up this bootcamp and guiding us through the AWS Cloud Practitioner certification course. So let me introduce Jatin. He is a champion AWS authorized instructor, having more than 3 years of experience working as a trainer and 8 years of experience in IT industry. He is holding all three associate level AWS certifications along with practitioner and essentials and data analytics specialty. He is also an active member of AWS Reskill community. So I hope you have seen the last three sessions in the series. So it's in the continuation. In case you have missed the sessions, so you still have the option to go through the video links and recordings. You can go through them and you can connect back us later if you have any queries. So over to you, Jatin, for the session today.
Thank you, Rajat, for the introduction, and very good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone based on the region you are joining from. I welcome you all as a part of this bootcamp series on cloud practitioner. So, as mentioned by Rajat, today is our last session of this bootcamp series, and I have some set of agenda which I am going to cover in today's session. Okay. Before that, let's have a quick recap about yesterday's session, what we had covered in the last session. So in last session, there were two major discussions which we had made. The one discussion was on Amazon S3, where I had told you how we can manage the access for the Amazon S3. And later we talked about networking in AWS. So under networking category, like I talked about VPC, virtual private cloud, which is used to design isolated network in the AWS. And I had also provided some assignments to all of you. So whenever you get a time, you can go ahead with that. All the links are there in the comment section. Okay, so you can watch the YouTube recordings if you have not done yet. And if there will be any query, you can post your comments. Okay. So now what's for today? Like as today is our last session, so I have a lot more to share with all of you. Okay, and that's what I'm going to do. So my first discussion will be on another category, that is databases in AWS, and then I will talk about some career tracks which you can follow in order to get an idea how to explore different services in AWS. Okay. So without any further delay, let's start with today's session. So I could see yesterday I had a question in the chat, like participants were looking for the information where they can connect to me. So this is my LinkedIn profile. I'm also pasting the same link in the comment section. Okay. So if you want to connect to me, you can just connect me over the LinkedIn and you can post your queries there too. Okay. In my inbox, and I will come back to if you need any specific assistance. Okay. Now let's start with database services. So again, I will come back to a concept where if someone asks me what are the fundamental services in any application, any system design, my answer to that question will be computing, storage, and databases. Okay. I will categorize all these services in the fundamental category. And rest all services which we are using, those will be using these services somewhere in the background. Because think about, if you have to design any application, you will need servers. And from where you're going to get servers? You're going to get servers from compute. And in cloud, we use a term called virtual machines. If we say storage, storage provides us space, and this space will be required to store our data. If we talk about networking, networking provides us communication, integration, interaction, as you can say. And when we talk about databases, so databases again provide us the collection of data, and where we can use this collection of data, for transactional purpose and analytical purpose. So two major categories which I am writing down here, that is transactional and analytical. Transactional means day-to-day transactions, and analytical means, let's say I have to analyze some historical trends, some market scenarios, I can do the analysis. So these are the four major categories. Out of these categories, we have already talked about compute, storage, and networking in our previous sessions. Now, what is left? So we have databases, which we are going to cover as a part of today's session. Okay. So one very good link, which I have taken for all of you, if you want to get an overview on different database services in AWS, is this one. These are the different database services available in AWS, and the documentation, if you will see, AWS cloud databases. Okay. So if I scroll down here, you can see a very good table with database types, use cases, and AWS services. What are the AWS services? Okay. And if you will hover over any of these services, you can see the information about that. So if you talk about relational, what means relational? So relational, when we say where we are storing the data in form of rows and column, the simplest definition which we define about relational databases. Databases, those have fixed schema. So you can simply hover over that and you can get an idea about these different database services along with use cases. Okay. If I will open this, this is a link. On clicking on to this particular link, I will navigate it to a particular service overview. Okay, so it's taking me to this purpose-built databases. And one more very good thing, you can learn more with 10 minutes tutorials. There are some 10 minutes tutorials step by step. You can again get here. These are some database fundamentals, and these are some getting started tutorials, 10 minutes tutorials. Creating your first RDS database, creating your first Aurora database, creating your first DynamoDB table, and lot more. Okay. And you can also go to database tutorial repository. That is one more very good link about tutorials on databases. So this is a link for hands-on tutorial for AWS. So see, like till the time if we are not aware about all these documentations, we always invest in the paid courses. Okay, we are browsing here there more courses, but we already have some hands-on tutorial which are present. We already have some good documentations which are present to start with, and we can use these documentations in order to get an idea. Now if you will see this hands-on tutorial, the best part is you can apply filters. The filters on the basis of category, the filters on the basis of level, the filters on the basis of content type. So currently the database categories has been chosen, and you can see a lot of good tutorials. Creating and connecting to a MySQL database, creating and managing a non-relational database, build a full stack React application, create and connect to a Microsoft SQL server. You can see lot of good use cases. If we'll go to top, you can see these are the different tutorials. And if you can go in the further pages to get an idea. So let me help you out with all three links in the comment section. I'm pasting that. If anybody is interested for databases, then this is a path they can start with. So see, anyhow, when we'll start working in the industries, we will have to choose a track. Okay. And when we say track, these are the track we need to interact with in AWS. Okay. Because you can't start in every track at a same time. You will have to basically choose a particular path, because if you will remember my discussion with all of you, cloud computing is the extension of your day-to-day work. If I was a developer in the past, now also I'm doing a development, but with the help of new set of tools, with the help of new services. That's what I'm doing. Okay. So now let me show you one demonstration, and let me set up the context what I'm going to show as a part of my demonstration. So see, I will show you this demonstration by two ways. One way is I am going to create a database. Okay. RDS database. RDS stands for, and the best part is it is a managed service in AWS. So whenever you have a database, you come to know this. It means that fault tolerance, high availability, scalability. These will be named by AWS. Remember that. Okay. So it provides supports for various database engines. I will show you what are the different database engines RDS provides supports for. Some of them are familiar about that Microsoft SQL Server. Okay, so I will give you an idea like from the dashboard itself, what are the different database engines which are supported as the part of RDS. Okay, now in my demonstration, which I have planned for you, I will create a MySQL RDS database. Okay, I will create a DB instance and I am going to connect this DB instance using EC2. Okay, and for the extra knowledge, I will also show you using SQL workbench. I will divide this demo into two parts. In my first demo, I will launch this RDS database instance in default VPC. Okay, and then we will do the configurations. Means connect to EC2 and connect via SQL workbench. So these things I'm going to do. Okay, I hope the context is clear enough to everyone. Are we good, everyone? Anyone has any quick question? Please let me know. Are we good till here? Can you do me a reply very quickly? I'm waiting for the reply from all of you. So please do me a reply. Okay, let me check the comment sections. Are we good with respect to what I am going to show you? Thanks a lot. Okay. Yes, let me come back here. So first thing I'm going to open here, that is RDS. So you know, if you have to go to a particular service, you can search for the name in the search bar. Okay. Let me take you here. And I'm going to change a region to Mumbai. You can choose any region, any geographical location you can choose in order to provide your infrastructure. I am going to choose Mumbai as a geographical location. Okay. Now let me put a question in front of you, like based on whatever discussion we have till now. My question to all of you: what are the factors do you think which impacts the choice of a geographical location or choice of a region? Let's say you are working as a part of an industry, okay, and now you have been assigned a task for that you have to provision the infrastructure resources in AWS. Obviously, like, you're going to choose a particular geographical location in which you are going to create your resources. My question again is, what are the factors which impacts the choice of a geographical location in AWS? Can you help me out with that? You can take time to think about it. So again, let's take it as an activity and I will assign you 5 minutes for this activity. I've started a timer, and my question, if I will repeat again, what do you think, what are the factors which impacts the choice of a region or choice of a geographical location? Over to you all. I'll keep an eye in the comment section to check your answers. What are the factors which impacts or which help you out to decide a particular geographical location? That is the question I have. Looking forward for the maximum participation. If I will give you a status about a timer, so 40 seconds are over. We still have almost 4 minutes left. Let me check if I have got any comment. Okay, I have got one comment. Cost. Very good. Anything else that comes into your mind? That comes into your mind? 1 minute, 25 seconds over. Cost of storage, replication, availability. Okay. More answers. Looking forward. I've got replies from two participants. Looking forward for maximum participation again. 2 minutes over. Data transfer. Okay. Good one. 2 minutes, 14 seconds over. Still, we have almost 2.5 minutes left. 2 minutes, 30 seconds over. 3 minutes over. 2 minutes left. Latency. Very good. 1 minute, 10 seconds left. Okay, 50 seconds left. And soon the countdown will begin. High availability, application performance. Okay, very good. 20 more seconds left. Okay, time up. Let's see the answers in the comment. Okay, thank you very much for all the answers, for all the responses. It was a great to get the answers from all of you, to know about your point of view. That's correct. Let me tell you some major factors which impacts the choice of a region or choice of a geographical location. The first one is governance regulations. Okay, or compliance rules. See, let's say I'm choosing that I have to provision my infrastructure in European region, or my customer base is in Europe. Okay, so there are some laws as a part of every country. There can be some regulations, compliance configured by the government of a country, which help us out in order to decide, is this a location I have to choose or not. Let me give an example. One of the very good example is GDPR, which is a general data protection regulation law. Okay. This general data protection regulation says that the customer should not leave a particular region. If I will talk about GDPR in Europe, so it says that the personal information or personal data of European customers should not leave their regions. It means that we also needed to consider these regulations, these compliance rules, which will decide the choice of a geographical location. One factor. Second is latency, as mentioned by one of you. Very correct. Latency, or it is also known as proximity to the customers. That is another factor. Say I have an application which is deployed in Mumbai location. Now, one user is trying to access my application from Mumbai, and one user is trying to access my application from London. Obviously, there will be a performance differences when I'm trying to access the application from different locations. So, latency or proximity to the customers is another factor. Third factor is service availability. Not all the services are available in all locations. Remember that. Okay. So basically, like before we are choosing a geographical location, we should check the availability of a service in that region. If that service is available in a region, I can make a choice of a location. Okay. And final one is cost. So cost varies from region to region. Remember that. How? What is the best way to explain this? The best way to explain this, every country has different tax regulations, they have different tax structure. Means, like if I will talk about AWS, so country government is going to charge AWS differently. In return, AWS is going to charge their customer differently. So that is another factor which decides the choice of a geographical location. So these are some factors. Okay. When we talk about high availability, when we talk about resiliency, reliability, that is in our hand, because high availability means minimizing the downtime, minimizing the interruption. So say like if I have an infrastructure running in Mumbai location and I want to make my infrastructure resources highly available, so first thing I have to decide, do I want to make it highly available inside Mumbai only, do I want to make it highly available around a globe? Okay, so based on that I can provision my infrastructure either in multiple availability zones or multi region. That I will decide. But these are some major factors which decides the choice of a geographical location. Okay. So now for my demo, but I have chosen Mumbai as a location here. You can see. I'll go to databases, and the first thing I am going to do, I am going to create a database. So let's click on create database. Okay. As soon as we click on create database, you will see a screen from where you can create a database. So I'm going to soon enter the details which is required to create a database instance. And then, as I told you, I am going to connect to this database instance using EC2 instance or using SQL workbench. Okay, that will be the first part of my demonstration, which I am going to show you. Okay. And also, I am going to create this database instance as a part of a default VPC. You all know what default VPC is. So default VPC is basically the one which will be created by AWS for the flexibility. Okay. So now when the page got loaded, you can see there are two options. Either I can go for the standard create option, either I can go for the easy create. So when I go for the easy create, means there will be some recommended best practice configurations. Okay. And some configuration options can be changed after the database is created. But let's say if you want to customize the configurations, if you want to set all of the configuration options, including ones for the availability, security, backups, and maintenance, you can choose standard create. Okay. You can also see the info about database creation method. Okay. So I'm choosing the standard create, and these are the supported database engines in the RDS. You can see Aurora compatible for MySQL, Aurora compatible for PostgreSQL, MySQL, MariaDB, PostgreSQL, Oracle, Microsoft SQL Server. You can read about these by selecting one of them and go to the info section. If I'll go to info section, I can read the information about that. So for my demonstration, I am going to choose MySQL, but just for your knowledge, Aurora is the enterprise class database engine. Okay, so that is the flavor which is provided to you as a part of AWS. Okay, so if you read about Aurora, you can see it's a Amazon Enterprise Class MySQL compatible database. And it also provides you compatibility for PostgreSQL. Okay, let me launch the one for MySQL. I'm choosing this. If I will scroll down further, I can see this is an engine version. Now you have three options. Do you want to create a database instance for production? So use defaults for the high availability and fast, consistent performance. Do you want to make it for dev and test environment, or do you want to use for a free tier? So my suggestion, if you are a fresher, if you are still exploring the AWS services, or if you are working as a part of your own AWS account, you can go ahead for the free tier ones. And once you will be confident enough and you have to launch your real-time resources, you can go for the dev test and production too. Okay. So for now, I'm choosing a free tier in front of you. As soon as I will choose this free tier option, if I will scroll down, I can see this availability and durability option become disabled for me, because as a part of a free tier, I will not get this multi-AG database cluster option. Okay. If you want to read about various deployment options, you know that we have info section about it. Multi-AG DB cluster, multi-AG DB instance, single database instance. You can see this. Okay. So in free tier, by default, this single database instance is chosen and you don't have an option to add it. Okay. I will scroll down further. You can provide the settings. You can provide DB instance identifier. Let me do that. You can provide any name you want. Okay. For simplicity, I'm providing MySQL 2023. Again, you can set a username. For your knowledge, you can also store these user credentials in the secret manager. Okay. Let me provide the password too. And I'm confirming the password here. You can see instance configuration options. So again, as a part of free tier, you don't have an option to choose the instance class form. You have the burstable classes. I'm going to choose the smallest one, which is t2.micro. Under storage, I'm keeping the default option. So you can read about storage type. So we can have general purpose SSD. We can have provision IOPS, or we can go for the magnetic storage. So I'm going to use general purpose SSD. Okay. These are the block level storage volume. If you are creating a server, you also need a storage for that. Under connectivity, I will keep everything default. Okay. See, I have chosen a default VPC. This is a default VPC I've chosen for now. Let me scroll down and let me provide a public access. This public access I'm providing because I am going to connect this database instance from SQL Workbench. Okay. So RDS assigns a public IP address to the database. EC2 instances and other resources outside of the VPC can connect to your database. Resources inside a VPC can also connect to the database. Choose one or more VPC security group that specify which resources can connect to the database. Okay. So you can manage the firewall settings in the security group. Similarly, you can see this option too. If you are choosing no as an option, it will not assign a public IP address. So only EC2 instances and other resources inside the VPC can connect to a database. Okay. So just to show you like how to connect from the SQL Workbench, I have chosen it public. Okay. You can also use SQL Workbench to connect privately via an EC2 instance. But for that, we'll have to provide a key pair. Okay. So I'm scrolling down, and with all the default options, if you want, you can explore that in terms of additional configuration. Okay. Which talks about backup. I have enabled automated backup with respect to maintenance. Okay. And I'm creating a database. There's a flag called deletion protection. So you can enable deletion protection. So when you will enable that, and if you will try to delete this database instance, it will not allow you to do that. Okay. Let me click on create database. And I will wait for the database to be created. So I will have to wait for the database to come and run. In the meantime, what I will do, I will not wait. I will launch an EC2 instance, because what I have to show you, I have to show you that I'm going to connect to this database from the EC2 instance. Let me do that. So I will search for EC2 in the search bar and I will be navigated to EC2 dashboard. Let's go here. And this is my EC2 console. So here I'm going to launch an EC2 instance. Okay, I'll go to instances from here. And I'm going to launch the instance. So click on launch instances. And here in the launch instances, you can provide a name. We'll try various combinations, okay? Let me provide a name. Let's say I'm talking about web server. And if I will scroll down, the next thing I'll choose that would be the AMI, Amazon Machine Image. So I'm choosing Amazon Linux as a part of a quick start option. On scrolling down further, I'll have an instance type, which is I'm taking t2.micro. Okay. I'm going to use a key pair because I'm going to use putty to connect to this EC2 instance this time. So I already have a key pair. If you want to create a new one, you can create a new key pair. Let me select this one. A network setting current keep it default. I am allowing SSH from my IP address to restrict it instead of doing that from anywhere. Under configure storage, I will keep everything default and I am not going to change anything under advanced detail section. If you want to see that, you can see. Under advanced detail, you can have the purchasing options. You can select. You can talk about instance auto recovery, shutdown behavior, stop, hibernate behavior, all these things you can see. Capacity reservation, tenancy. You can see the license configurations too. And there's a user data. Okay. So I'm not changing any of these settings. Okay, sorry. Let me do that very quickly again. By mistakenly, I clicked on cancel. So I'm providing the name of my EC2 instance. You know that tagging is one of the best practice or a strategy in the AWS. And the purpose of tagging is to make your resources managing better way. Okay. Like you can search your resources, you can filter your resources on the basis of these key value pairs, on the basis of these tags you have applied. Okay. So scroll down. I've chosen Amazon Linux. And in the instance type, I'm going to choose t2.micro. Again, for key pair, this is the one I've chosen. Network setting, I have kept default. The only thing I'll allow SSH from my IP. And finally, with all other default settings, I'm saying launch instance. And soon this EC2 instance will be up and running. Let's wait for the status of the instances to come up and running. It's in a pending state right now. And let me check the status of my RDS database. The status is backing up, so I'll have to wait for this RDS database instance to be available. Okay. It's running. I'm going to use SSH desktop. So this is SSH client basically. Okay. So if you want to connect to your EC2 instance using a SSH client, you can use this app. Okay. Let me open Putty. have to provide the public IP address of my EC2 instance. Let's select it. Let's select the public IPv4. I'm providing it here. I will expand this SSS section. I will expand this auth section, and under credentials, I am going to browse for the credential file. Okay. So this is a key pair I had created and I had downloaded. So the concept of key pair is if you securely want to connect to your server from any external client, you need a key pair. So key pair basically allow you to securely connect. So as the name is suggesting, we have a public key and private key. So AWS will hold a public key and customer will hold a private key. So when a customer is trying to connect to the machine, they will have to pass on this private key. So corresponding to the private key, the public key will be validated and you will be allowed to connect to a machine securely. Okay. One more thing for extra knowledge. Actually, when you download putty, okay, you can download putty from here. You can download and then you will be able to download putty from here. So when you download the putty comes up with a client called Patient. Okay. What this Patient client is, let me help you out. It's a client. This Patient you can use in order to maintain the keys. Like currently, I have provided the key here under credentials. What I could do, I could also add a key in the Patient, and then I can use this option called allow agent forwarding. So when I will check on this one, it will pick up the key from the Patient. Okay. So where you can use that, I will guide you. See what happens. Let's say sometimes I am launching two EC2 instances, one public and one private EC2 instance in a VPC, in a public subnet and private subnet. Now I can't do SSH to my private EC2 instance because there is no public IP associated with it. Let's say I want to test the connectivity to my private EC2 instance and I want to jump to my private EC2 instance from public one. So there, this agent forwarding will be really helpful. Why? Because I don't have to create a key pair again on my server. Instead, I can simply attach a key once. I can simply import a key once, and using that key pair, I can validate my identity for public and private EC2 instances. Just for the extra knowledge, okay? I am using these options for now. Let me click on open. I will accept and I'll say EC2 user. And I will be connected to my EC2 instance. Now, one question can come into your mind from where I have chosen this EC2 user. Have I remembered that, or do you also need to memorize it? My answer is no. You don't need to memorize it. Okay. Let me help you out. So, if I will talk about EC2 username, documentation, and you can see based on the AMI we are choosing, we have different EC2 username. Okay. Let me take a question very quickly. Is there any option to restore the database dump on RDS? Yes. If you want to restore a database dump on RDS, like what you can do, you can first of all take a backup. You can take a snapshot and you can store that snapshot in the S3 bucket. Okay. If you already have some backup or snapshot stored in the S3 bucket, you can restore your database from that snapshot. Okay. I will provide you a link for that if you're looking for that kind of implementation. Okay. Make sense? Can you help me out? That answers your question. Okay. Let me provide you a link very quickly. This is a documentation. You can see this backing up and restoring an RDS database. That is one. Okay. If you want to restore an RDS database from a backup, you can use this one. And if you are looking for restoring RDS from snapshot, if you have some snapshot are also point in time backup, incremental backup. You can read this one. Okay. So these are the two blocks you can restore RDS database. Use the backup console to restore RDS recovery point. And this is another one. Okay, let's wait for this to be loaded. In the meantime, you can see this one. Can you see these are the username? So I have chosen Amazon and Linux as my AMI. So the username is EC2-user. So that is available as a part of documentation itself. Okay. So let me provide you this. I'll talk about that, Sandeep. Sandeep has a question like what is tagging and how to apply that. Very good question. So see, Sandeep, tagging is a strategy in AWS. Let me just give you a very good example for the strategy. What do you understand by strategy? So see, when we talk about tagging as a strategy or best practice, it is a strategy and best practice in the context. Let's say you have 20 servers running in your account. Okay. And now at the end of the month, AWS has generated a cost report for those 20 servers. Okay. Some servers belongs to a development environment and some servers belongs to a production environment, and each and every server have different configurations. Means the servers which belongs to development environment have different configurations. Maybe they are servers with like less configuration, 2 virtual CPU, 2 GB of RAM, for example, and the one which you have created for the production environment have high configurations. Okay, so you want to filter your resources on the basis of cost, means which resource has generated most charges for you in the AWS cost and usage report. So if you had applied the tags name value pairs, let's say I had applied a tag with a name as environment, and in the value I had provided the name of the environment, let's say development and production. So you would be able to filter the resources on the basis of tag. One use case. Another use case of tagging is, think about it. You have 20 servers, okay? And now you got a patch, security patch, you have to update on those 20 servers. Currently, there is a Java 6 version running on those servers. You want to upgrade it to Java 8, for example. Okay. One way is you can connect to each and every server individually and you can start installing a patch. Okay. Another way is you can group those resources on the basis of a tag. Let's say I have applied a tag with key value pair. Okay. You can group those resources on the basis of tag, and later you can apply a patch to all the resources in a single go instead of logging into those resources one by one. Some of the use cases of tagging. Make sense, Sandeep? That answers your first question, what is tagging and what are the advantages, Sandeep? There are two type of tag, AWS and user defined tags. AWS defined tags and user defined tags. If we'll go here, let me help you out. So if we're talking about cost and uses report specifically, so in that you will enable these tags and then start applying it as a key value pair. Let me wait. If we'll go here, there's a category for cost allocation tags. User defined cost allocation tag, AWS generated cost allocation tags. Okay, you need to enable them. Currently, these tags are activated. Department, description, created by. You can activate more tags and then you can start applying it. For example, if you will go to your EC2 only, if I have to apply a tag, how can I do that? Let me guide you. I'll go to my EC2 dashboard. Currently, I have applied already to my EC2 instance. Okay. Let me show you that. If I will open my EC2 instance here, if I will go here, I can see this is one of the tag with the name as a key and a value a web server. Let me select this. In the details, you can see the details about your server, and there is a section called tags. You can simply manage the tags. Let me apply more tags. So tags basically act as a metadata information. Let's say I'm applying a tag called environment. Okay. In the environment, I'm saying development is my environment. So now later when I will create more resources, and let's say to those resources I have applied a tag as environment equals to development. So I can group those resources and I can perform activities on those resources based on the tags. Okay. Answers your question, Sandeep? Great. Thanks a lot, Sandeep. Okay. Let's see. I'm connected to my EC2 instance via putting. Let's increase the font size. So I'll go to change settings. You can increase the font size if you want. Let me change the colors. Okay. So this is my EC2 instance. Now what I have to do, I have to connect to the RDS database instance, which is a MySQL database instance. So I should have a MySQL installed on this EC2 machine. So first thing, let me do sudo sc. That is for switch to a root user. So sudo is the elevated permission and su is a command for switch user. Okay. So this is my Linux based EC2 instances. So I'm going to execute some Linux commands. I will talk about each and every command which I am going to execute here. The next command, I will check for MySQL version. So for that, I'm typing MySQL space hyphen hyphen version. Currently, it is saying command not found because I don't have any MySQL client running on this EC2 instance. So this is a CentOS based machine. In the background, it is using a CentOS. So if I have to install something on this distribution, there's a utility called yum. So yum is a utility which is used to download the packages. So I will say yum install hyphen y MySQL. Okay. Why I am providing for approval, automated approval. Otherwise, if I would not provide hyphen y, it would ask me to confirm. Okay. Let's execute the command this time. And you can see the response. I have this version of MySQL running on my machine. Earlier, it was saying command not found. Now, let's quickly check the status of our RDS database instance. Okay. It is available. So there is a command to connect to the RDS database instance or instance. You will have to use this command in Linux. This is a command I have taken. I have just provided a syntax for this command. Okay, the syntax is MySQL hyphen H. H stands for host name. I need to provide database endpoint. Hyphen P. P stands for port. So port is 3306. Okay. Hyphen U. U stands for username. And this hyphen P small p is for password. Okay. So let me execute this. But I will have to change this command with the configuration I have. So I have to provide my database host name. How I will get that? In the RDS databases, I have opened MySQL client. Let me open that. And if I will scroll down, under connectivity and security, you can see the endpoint. So this is the endpoint. Let me choose that. Okay. The port is 3306. And this was a username I had provided, MySQL 2023. If you want to check that, you can check it from the configuration part. Go to configurations. Under configuration, you can see this is my master username. Okay. Let me take this command and let me execute this command. Press enter. It will ask for the password. So this is a prompt you have to type. Okay. Sometimes people get confused that when they're typing from the keyboard, it's not taking anything. It will take. Just type a password and press enter, like I'm doing. And see, I connected to MySQL. Okay. So first thing I will see What are the databases available? Because when you connect to this, there will be some sample databases available. So these are some sample databases available. Okay. I'm going to create one database. So for creating a database, I'm going to use a command. Let's say create database. I'm creating a database called books, for example. Okay. It will again execute the command. You will see a book database got created. So now I'm executing the SQL command simply. Okay. If I have to use books, I will say use books. And now it changed from none to books. Inside books, if you will say show tables, currently there is no tables present here. Let's create a one. So I'm going to create a table called book. This is a command I'm using. Let's press enter. Okay. This time if I will say show tables, I can see a book table is present here. If I will do select star from book, I don't have anything present here. So let's insert some records. I am inserting some records here. Let me do that. Okay. I'm inserting the title and author. Okay. And if I will do select star this time, I can see the result. I had only inserted title and author. This will be taken as an incremental because this is I have defined as a primary key, and other things will be null. If you want, you can pass that. Okay. So this is how you can connect to your RDS database instance from EC2 instance. Okay. Now, if you have observed something in this particular demo, I had launched everything as a part of my default VPC. Default VPC means everything was launched in a public subnet. Okay. Everything was launched in a public subnet. My EC2 instance, my database instance. Okay. And I had allowed to connect from my EC2 instance to a database instance over the default security group. Okay. We will do one more exercise just for your knowledge. Before that, let me connect this database using the SQL workbench. Just for your knowledge. This time I'm using this line. Let me open this workbench. Let me open that. Let's wait for the client to be open. And then I am going to establish the connection to this workbench. Say connections. Click on plus icon. You have to provide connection name. Let's say Redshift or RDS demo. Sorry. Any name you can give. In the host name, I'm going to give the endpoint which I had used here. Either you can take it from your notepad file, or either you can take it from the console. Let me take it here. I have to provide my username. I have to provide the password, and I will connect. I can see successfully made the MySQL connection. Okay. You could also establish the connection over the advanced configuration mode. You can provide the configurations. Okay. Or you could also use some SSL certificate if you had. And here also you had different options. See, let's say if you want to connect it over SSH, you can use the standard TCP IP over SSH. Okay, that also you could use. Okay, but I'm using this one over the public IP, and this is a connection. Now, when I will open this, let me show you. Can you see this is my books table, books database? Inside a books database, I can see I have a books table. This is a books table. Okay, let me execute a query. Let's say select star from book. and you will see the result. Okay, so basically either you can execute it using client SQL client, or either you can do that from the EC2 instance. Okay, let's do one thing. Let's try one more thing. Okay, this time what we will do, let me take you here. Let me create a table, employee table. Okay, using this SQL client, I'm creating a new table. Okay, from here if you want, you can open the, you can create a new SQL table also, and you can basically create a stored procedures. You can explore this option if you want. Okay, this is to create a new database schema. Okay, and this is to open a SQL script file in new query tab. Let's say you want to open a new query tab, and if you already have some SQL script file, you can browse for that. Okay, what I'm going to do, I'm going to execute my command, that create table command. Okay, this is the command I have pasted here. Let me select this and let me execute it. I can see an employee table got created under this books database. You can always refresh it and you can check. We have an employee table. Okay. Currently, if I will do select star from employee, I will not have anything here. I don't have any record. Okay. But let's say I will insert some records here. Let me insert some records this time. Let me again execute select star from employee. These are the simple SQL queries I am executing. You can see the result. Also, if you'll go back, and this time if you will see show tables, you can see one new table got added here. So these are in sync. You can see the result. Okay. Are we good till here, everyone? What do you say? Are we good till here? Are we good? Okay. How to use workbench if my RDS is in private subnet? For that, you will have to use SSH. I shown you. There was an option called SSH. Okay. Make sense? How to transfer files from server to server using putty Windows server. Okay. I will give you the reference for that to Karthik. Okay. So you can connect to the MySQL workbench and you can establish the connection to RDS if your RDS database is in a private subnet over SSH. Okay. So take it as an assignment. Okay. Let me do one thing. Let me create a README file for all of you very quickly. I'm creating, let's say, commands. Don't worry, I'm going to give you an assignment, okay, on databases too. Let me write some Linux commands here very quickly. The first command I had used was sudo su. This was a command in order to switch to root user with sudo access. Okay. And I had executed a command called yum install -y MySQL to download and install MySQL on machine. And I had MySQL version just to check the version of MySQL. Okay. When I had used this command, I can just pass it on. This was a command to connect to RDS database from EC2. Okay. After that, I can pass it on this one. Let's say I'm saying show databases to check the databases present. Show tables, get the list of tables. A semicolon you can use after your command, after SQL command. Okay. Before that, you have to use a particular database. So use and provide a database name you want to use. Okay. And finally, these are some syntaxes which you can use in order to create a table and insert data. Make sense? The file you're looking for, everyone. Can you help me out? This is what you're looking for. Okay. Can we change the subnet from public to private? Okay. Try everything practically. If you'll go to connectivity and security, first of all, my RDS database instance is provisioned in the default VPC. Okay. Let me open a VPC section. If you have to transfer files from Windows from server to server, you can use FileZilla. That is also a client. Okay. Let me open the VPC. If you want, you can use this one. How to transfer files between servers using SSH. That is the one. Or otherwise, you can use this one. SSH file transfers with PuTTY. How to upload and download files through SSH using PuTTY. Specific to your question. Okay, check. Karthik, this is for you. Public GitHub repository. I'm going to update this command file in this public GitHub repository. Okay. This GitHub repository is containing some additional important links for all of you. Specifically for the cloud practitioner, I have created some cheat sheets and all, okay, which I'm going to share. Great. Karthik, I hope you have also got the answer of your question. Karthik, please refer to this blue provided. Make sense, Karthik? Now, I'm checking my default VPC, the subnet which is there as a part of my default VPC. What type of subnets are those? Okay. Are all the subnets public subnet or do we have any private subnet? Okay. So if I'll go to VPCs, and if I will take this default VPC ID, let me take that. Let me go to subnets. In the subnets, I'm going to filter my subnets on the basis of this VPC ID. So I can see there are 3 subnets. Okay. So you know what's the best way to check that? Simply check the route tables. We have an entry for internet gateway in the first one. So means all the subnets here are public subnets. In a default VPC, all the subnets are public subnet. Can you see that? So if you want to launch an RDS database instance as a part of the private subnet, please use a custom VPC. Okay? Make sense? Please use a custom VPC. Okay? And just check one more thing, just for the better understanding. And then I'm going to give you a very good assignment, okay, on RDS. That will be an assignment you can do by yourself. So let's go here. Let's try to check something. I'll wait for my RDS database instance to come up and running. I'll go here to the databases. This is a dashboard for RDS, and I will check my database instance. I can open this. And here I can say modify. So when I will click on modify, let's see what all things I can modify here. So you want to check, can I modify the network configurations? Okay. So see, if you scroll down, you can't modify the VPC. Can you see that? Can you see that? I can't modify the VPC. So I can't modify the VPC. So basically, once you have created your resources in a specific VPC, you can't modify the VPC. Okay. So if you want to launch it in a different VPC, you will have to create or provision the resources in a separate VPC. Okay. Let me give you some examples. RDS. I'll paste the link in the chat. And after that, I will talk about few things which I have taken for all of you. Okay. So if we'll go here, there's a workshop on RDS, very good workshop on RDS. You can see what we are going to do here. We are going to launch an RDS instance, save the RDS credentials, access RDS from EC2, creating an RDS snapshot, modify RDS instance size. All these things are going to do here. Okay, so obviously there are some prerequisites as a part of this lab. This lab require you to complete the EC2 Linux hands-on lab. Means it requires you to complete this particular lab first. Okay, so this is an interesting lab. So you are going to use RDS, a web service that makes it easy to set up, operate, and scale a relational database in the cloud. What type of architecture are you going to design? See, you have a public subnet. Okay, you have a DB subnet, that is a private subnet. So in this particular exercise, you are going to launch your RDS in the private subnet, your EC2 instance in the public subnet, and then you are going to establish the connection. So for that, you will have to manage the security group. Can you see that? Let me pass on this exercise to all of you. So it is an assignment you all can work upon. Okay. Now, once you are done with the demonstration, don't forget to terminate your resources if you don't want to get any unintentional charges in your AWS account. And again, I will request you, like if you have not gone through my previous recordings on YouTube, please go on through my previous recordings, because I have also mentioned how to create budgets in AWS so that you can be alerted if you are breaching a threshold. Okay. Let's quickly terminate our RDS database instance. So I will say delete. I am not going to create a snapshot. I'm not going to create some automated backups. I'll provide an acknowledgement I'll say delete me. And finally, I will say delete. Okay. Similarly, I'll go to instances. I'll go to instance state and I am going to terminate my EC2 instance. Okay. This is what I'm going to do. Finally, I'm going to terminate the connection which I had created in this workbench. So see, when we were talking about connecting over the private subnet, so see, this was the option. Standard TCP IP over SSH. You have to provide username, you have to provide password, you have to provide SSH key file. The key file which you are going to download, you have to provide that. Okay, you can see you have to provide SSH key file when you want to connect it over the private subnet. Okay, make sense? This is something you can try. Okay, so take it as an exercise and you can try that. This is what you can use. So give it a try. So what is the thing you have to do? In the same assignment which I have given you, anyhow you're going to launch your RDS in the private subnet. Okay. So create a key pair for your EC2 instance, and from your EC2 instance or using that key pair, try to connect to your database instance with the host name, with the port, with a username and password. Okay. That's what you can do. So you can try that. You have to use this option, standard TCP IP over SSH. Okay. Let me delete this connection. And finally, I am closing this putty session. Okay. I hope you all are good till here. Are we? Are we good till here, everyone? Are we good? Okay. Next thing which I'm going to talk about now, it's a time for talking with respect to certifications. Okay. So first thing, whenever I have to go for AWS certifications, okay, I'll say AWS certification. If I will type that on the internet, I can go to this particular link. So as a part of the same, I'm mentioning a section, let's say important link, like that. The first important link, list of AWS certifications. Okay, this is the link I'm taking. See, if I will available certifications in AWS, starting from foundational one, which is a cloud practitioner one. We have as different roles in the industry. Okay. After associate, if you want, you can appear for the professional level certifications. And once you are done with the professional level certifications, you can go ahead for the specialty certification if you want. Okay. See, if you are a person with an area of interest in databases, and if you want to do a specialty for databases, so you have AWS certified database specialty. This is a certification you have, you can appear for. If you are a networking guy, you can go ahead with the AWS specialty advanced networking. So you can choose that. Okay. Now let's say if I want to get a preparation journey, simply select a certification name. Let's say I'm looking for cloud practitioner. So I will be navigated to the cloud practitioner guide page. Okay. I'll go here, and from here I can see this is a cloud practitioner exam guide page. So I will specifically take the link. You can also go from the previous one, but I'm specifically taking the link for cloud practitioner. Okay. So cloud exam guide. Okay. I've taken it here. What this exam guide is going to help you out. This exam guide is going to give an overview about a cloud practitioner exam. This is an overview about a cloud practitioner exam. In terms of 90 minutes to complete the exam, in terms of 65 questions format, it will be there. Either it will be a multiple choice or multiple response. Okay. Multiple choice or multiple response means there can be single correct answers, there can be multiple correct answers. So they will mention you in the question itself. If there will be multiple answers you have to choose, so they will mention choose two, choose three, like that. Okay. Then you should start with from here. If you want to start, you have to start from the exam guide. Okay. Exam guide. This exam guide will give an idea about the domains you will be judged on. Let's say cloud concept, security and compliance, technology, billing and pricing. But I have already prepared a documentation for all of you called service mapping. And as I mentioned, I have kept all these documents on a GitHub, and I am going to share this doc on the GitHub. You can see. Concept, security, compliance, technology, billing, and pricing. What would be the weightage? These are the weightages. Okay. And I have also done the service mapping. Under each category, what are the services which comes here? Okay. Now, first question, if someone will ask me, like, what is the best way to read about these services from the cloud practitioner perspective? My simple answer to them, if you want to read from cloud practitioner, or even if you want to get more knowledge, you can simply open AWS FAQs. This is a best place to read. FAQs, you can select a service you want to read about, and then you can quickly go through that service. Okay. Let me open one for the demo purpose. And before that, I'm taking this link here. Okay. And that is, let's say, let me open EC2 as well as knowledge for the analyzing. You only have to get an idea about EC2. So I'm not asking about these numbers. So where that's not the part of your exam. Okay. You can simply get an you can simply get an see. I have created a cheat sheet for all of you. In a cheat sheet, I have taken various terminologies, and as a part of these terminologies, you can see the name and definition. And again, I have taken the cheat sheet as a part of your GitHub. Okay, you can see this is a cheat sheet. So you can also go from here to about a particular service. Okay, what type of service it is. And third thing which I have done for all of you, that is actually when you're designing something. So as a part of designing something, you need to be aware about well-architected principles here. Okay. There is one more which got updated recently that is called sustainability. Okay. So I've taken 5 pillars here, but there is one more called sustainability. So I will update this and I will just update this file on the GitHub. Okay. That is for the extra knowledge. So this is a link of GitHub which I will provide to all of you. Let me just share this link with all of you in the chat. You can change the instance class. Yes. If you have to change the instance class of EC2 instance, you can do that. But yes, there will be some downtime. Okay. If you're changing the EC2 instance class. It also depends upon the type of pricing option you have chosen to elaborate more on your question. Okay. Let's say if you have chosen a reserved, and reserved, again, there are two types, standard or convertible. In standard, you can't change the classes, instance classes and all. In convertible, you can change. If you have chosen the on demand, you can change the instance class. Okay. You can quickly check that. Okay, let me just complete it. So this is the exam guide. Now, what is the next thing? You can see there are a lot of free resources available for all of you to start preparation on Cloud Practitioner. This certified Cloud Practitioner official practice question sets. This certified Cloud Practitioner sample questions. Okay, you can, if you will open this, you can get an idea about a type of sample questions. Okay, so there are some 10 sample questions around which you can see here. So it will not be a big scenario based question. It will be a statement, single or two-liner statement question where you have to identify which service will be suitable for particular scenario. You can also get this official practice set. If you recall, I had shown you yesterday about a skill builder portal, AWS skill builder. That is a portal you can use in order to get lot of free trainings. Okay, you can sign in. Account, you can use an Amazon account, and you will be landed to this page. Let's wait for this page to be appeared. Let me complete this discussion and then I will quickly show you that, okay, with the EC2 instance. So here you can access all these resources: certified cloud practitioner official practice question set and exam prep, AWS certified cloud practitioner. Okay, these are some specific trainings. Okay, but you should go for the one which is available freely right now. You can go here and you can enroll for this. Okay, you can see it includes some 20 questions. Okay, you can also go ahead with this exam prep. Again, it's a kind of a training which will be available free of cost. You can enroll for this. It's a 3-hour training. You can see in this foundation level course for AWS, you will learn how to assess your preparedness for the cloud practitioner certification exam. And it includes a lot of things. It includes these things. Okay, domain wise, the domains which were there as a part of your examination. So you can enroll for this training if you want. Okay, also there is a free webinar, so you can go ahead and you can search for the free webinars. You can see some events, you can see these are the exam readiness virtual event. Let's say if I will talk about cloud practitioner, there is one virtual event which is planned on 17th of March. Okay, that would be of 2 hours 30 minutes. If you want, you can register for that. Okay, so all these links are here. That is a part of this exam guideline. Okay, so that's how you can plan your preparation journey. Okay, now the next thing which I always feel, if you are a fresher, Okay, if you want to start, or if you're starting on a particular track, the next thing is ramp up guide. Let me help you out. You can go ahead, and this is a very good documentation actually. This AWS ramp up guides. It will help you out to give an idea on a particular track. You can see there are various tracks. And for each track, let's say if you want to start on a cloud essentials track, if you click on download this guide, you can see a complete path. This is a complete path. You can see. So you can go ahead with the digital trainings and self-paced labs, some white papers. Okay. So this RAM basically gives us a track to start from. Okay. So you can see there are ramp up guides by solution, there are ramp up guides by role, there are ramp up guides by industry. So based on what you want to do, you can use this particular ramp up guide in order to get an idea to start with on a particular track. Okay, so that is also a very good link which you can check. I'm again taking that, and I'm mentioning here. This is AWS ramp up guide. Okay, this is for a long run. So see, always we have a short term goal and long term goal. We should have two goals, short term and long term. In short term, we should target our credentials, to gain the credentials and to attain something as a part of our career track. In the long run, we should practice it more. So in order to go for a long run, you can choose this ramp up guide to start on a particular track. Also, when participant says that I want to practice, I need some lab exercises, I need some step-by-step instructions. So we have another link called AWS Workshops. Open, you can see you're going to get lot of good instructions lab here, step by step. You can, yes, you will have to need your own AWS account for that. Okay, you have to do that in your own AWS account. Let's wait for this to come up and running. You can see, search for a particular service. Let me search for S3, for example. You can see various labs on S3. There are various labs on S3. You can start from here. Okay, so this is another platform which you can use. Let me take it in terms of AWS workshops. Okay, so all these important links I have taken. Next thing, I can see there was a question about a community. So for that, there is AWS community. You can register here. Connect and collaborate with Southeast Asia cloud computing community. You can see that community activities and all those things. Okay, and you can follow on Twitter, subscribe to YouTube, learn how to start using AWS in minutes, follow on Facebook, follow on LinkedIn. Okay, so that is again a link for AWS community. I hope you all are good till here. Are we? Are we good till here, everyone? Let me update this file also as a part of your GitHub. So I'm updating this file here as a part of a GitHub repo. Let me do that. Okay. So this file is also present here. I have already provided you the link for GitHub. And okay, so what I want you out as a part of this bootcamp series. Now I want to know from all of you, how was your experience for this bootcamp series? Can you help me out with that? Can you help me out? How was your experience? Have you gained something as a part of this bootcamp series? Can you share your experience with me? Okay. Maybe you can write your experience if you want. Okay. In the meantime, let me take one last query by one of the participant. That so see, when you want to resize your instances, that is a concept called vertical scaling. So vertical scaling means scale up or scale down. Okay, that is vertical scaling. Okay, so let me help you out first of all how you can vertically scale your servers, your EC2 instances. Okay, and then I will provide you one automated documentation too. So you go to instances here, and I am quickly going to launch an instance. Okay, let me do that. So you can see you have a lot more to learn. You have a lot more things available here. Okay, so please go through that. You already have enough good documentations available. Okay, so please refer those documentations first. You already have enough platforms available to practice to start in AWS. So explore that, gain tags, attain tags. Okay, if you remember, go ahead with the learning plan for the S3, digital learning plan for S3. Okay, that is also going to help you out to add credentials in your profile. Get those tags, like you have to attend some digital trainings on skill builder free of cost. Okay, and then you have to get those tags, add those tags in your LinkedIn profile. Okay, do that. Let me create a server very quickly. This is the last thing I'll show you for today. And currently, let's keep all other options as default. Let's say Amazon Linux as an AMI. The instance type is t2.micro. In the key pair, I will say proceed without a key pair, not recommended. Network settings, I'll keep default. And finally, with all other default options, I'm going to launch instance. Okay. So now my requirement is I have to change the instance type. I have to change the instance class. Okay. So if anybody is interested, you can always check the EC2 documentation. So AWS provides you different hardware configurations based on your use case. Okay. You can see there are different categories. These are different categories with respect to use cases: general purpose, compute optimize, memory optimize, accelerated computing, and all. Okay. So let's wait. This instance, if the status go through. Sandeep, I will provide a link one more time. I have already provided a link in a chat window. Just access this link, Sandeep. This is a public GitHub repo. Okay. Just click on this link and you will be able to get access to these files. Download these files on your machine. Okay. Let me go back. Let me go back to my and go to actions. The one way is, let's say I have to change the instance class. See, in order to change the instance type, first of all, you need to stop that EC2 instance, and then you will be able to change the instance type. So I told you there will be some downtime. Okay. So stop this EC2 instance, and this option will be enabled. So from here, you can change the instance class. Another thing is, if you want to see approach, there is a architecture block on EC2 vertical scale. Let me help you out. This is a block. You can see this architecture block. Scaling for EC2. So vertical scaling talks about resizing your servers and horizontal. So you can read this. AWS Ops Automator. It will help you out to manage the vertical scaling automatically. Okay. You can see usage of its Ops Automator, a solution that enables you automatically manage your resources feature vertical scaling for EC2 instances. With vertical scaling, the solutions automatically adjust capacity, maintain steady, predictable performance at the lowest possible cost. Okay. Or the solution can resize your instance by replacing your existing instance with a new resized instance. You can see this one. Okay. They have given you a complete architecture block. You can read this one. If you want to do it by yourself, in that case, what you can do, I told you, if I'll stop my instance, let's wait for the instance state to come in stop state, and then I will show you how can I change the instance. I will again pass the link. If anybody wants to connect, they can connect over the LinkedIn. Okay, Deva, what you can do, you can just go to our YouTube channel, AWS User Group NCR, and there you can see the previous recordings too. Okay, please do that. It is that, and in the actions under instance settings, you can see this option enabled, change instance type. So you can change the instance class. Let's say from t2.micro, you want to change it to any other instance type, you can do that. And from here, you can see the configurations with respect to CPU and all. Okay. You can see that. Makes sense? That answers your question. By both ways, or if you want to use this ops automator, okay. Okay, Karthik, what is that? AWS Kinesis? Do you want some additional info? See, you have mentioned AWS Kinesis in the chat, in the comment section. So, what's your query? Kinesis is a streaming service in AWS. AWS Kinesis is a streaming service. So, if you're looking for a streaming data to deal with streaming data, you can go for the Kinesis. Okay. Amazon Kinesis. Great. So this is what help out of today's session. It is a great interaction, always to share the views with the participants, with different people. Okay. And it was a great interaction with all of you also. Thanks a lot for being a great audience. Thanks a lot for sharing your views time to time on the basis of all the activities I had scheduled as a part of this training program. Okay, so I'm done from my side. If you have any further question, you can post your questions in the comment sections and we will get back to you for that. Okay, so over to you, Rajat.
Thanks a lot, Jatin, for the wonderful session. So I was following it and I saw very good things touch upon by you regarding databases and regarding the different instance type and how you can change that on an instance. It was very good to see the different flavors of the Amazon cloud and the various use cases that you have taken. And I could also see like a lot of response from the participants. Great. Thank you so much for all your time. So guys, I will be posting all the day's YouTube link on my LinkedIn profile. You can also connect with Jatin Goyal and he will also be posting the YouTube links as well as the links that he has shared for the GitHub where you can find all the resources for the session. And you can keep connecting us with over the LinkedIn in case you have any further questions or keep watching this space, meetup space for the upcoming sessions. We'll be conducting many more sessions in the coming time, so it will be good to join back and increase your learnings. Great. Thank you so much, Jatin. Thank you so much for all your time and to everyone for having a wonderful session and having us here. Thank you.
Thanks, Rajat. Thanks for your support in the
Thank you.
entire training session. And
Okay. Bye
thanks,
bye.
everyone. Bye bye, everyone.